Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kingdom's Queens podcast. I am so excited to be here with you guys this week. We are officially going to the freaking Super Bowl!
Yeah!
Y'all, the Super Bowl. After this season we had, the Chiefs are headed to Super Bowl 58. I in Las Vegas. Let's freaking go. I am so excited. We have a lot to dive into today, so let's just get to it. I'm your host, Lexi.
I'm Chrissy.
I'm Jodi.
It was a pause for dramatic effects.
I'm like pressing buttons and the buttons aren't working. Anyway, I'm Jodi. Hey y'all. So let's get into it. So we talked about last week, right? And all of the drama and all of the chaos and all of the bulletin board material and everything that you could think of going into this Ravens game. And it did not go at all the way that I thought it was going to go. I knew we were going to win, right? And I know I didn't say what my score prediction was, but I had us winning by 10.
I mean, we could have kicked a field goal at the end. It would have been 10, you know.
If we could have kicked the field goal, period.
Yeah.
Like, let's go there. Anyway, let's kind of go start to finish with the whole game. And I know y'all are thinking we're gonna talk Super Bowl today, but we're not. We're gonna give you a small preview later and really talk into that next week. A small preview this week. So let's get into it. Ravens, Chiefs win. They go to the bank. They robbed the bank. Do you know how many wolf pictures I've seen?
Oh my gosh, so many.
And I laugh hysterically. Chiefs Kingdom is ridiculous.
We are 100%.
Oh, I love it. It's hilarious. MVS was like the one that posted like.
Yeah, I was like, oh, MVS, what you doing? Marquez,
Valdez. Yeah, no, it's
Marquez.
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, guys, the beginning of this game, our offense came out rocking. Like, they looked like the Chiefs of old, and it was awesome. And like, it just, our defense played lights out the entire game. That first drive with Lamar Jackson, and he was kind of getting some runs, and I was like, you know what? I'm glad that's happening first drive. They'll go off, they'll make adjustments. And guys, like, they only rushed like 6 times with Mike Edwards or something. Like, the Ravens completely abandoned their running game. So, like,
I don't know.
It was not what I was anticipating.
No. I don't think any of us were. And I don't understand why they did that, because that's not the culture that they had kind of created for the whole entire season.
Yeah.
So to kind of really to abandon what their identity was and the reason why they got to the Super Bowl in the first place, like
AFC Championship.
We spoke about it last week. That roster is loaded with running backs. They even added Dalvin Cook in. Like, what was the point, I guess?
Yeah.
If you're gonna honestly, actually, did we saw like one run from him?
One? Did we?
Like one?
I thought we saw. No, I know we saw one from him the week before.
No, I think we saw one this week, and that was it.
Sorry.
I was like, what's happening?
I'm having so many issues over here. It's not even funny. Let me focus and pay attention. Yes. No, I haven't looked at their stat sheet. I'll pull it up. I don't remember seeing any runs from him. I remember seeing one run from him the week prior. So yeah, I really just kind of get into the Chiefs offense though. Let's talk about that very first drive from Patrick Mahomes. No. Before we get there, let's talk about the pregame. So
I was wondering, yeah.
Let's talk about the pregame. I was not paying attention. I was finishing cooking brunch. We were in a Chiefs space, me and Lexi, and I just kind of heard everything that y'all were saying. And I really didn't actually see it until I had to go back and watch it. So Justin Tucker, the third best kicker in the NFL this year, decides to warm up on the Chiefs side of the field, right? And, I truly understand, like, we have to share this field. Everybody has to get it in. They have to get their warm-ups in. They got to get their practice on. Like, I fully get it. I fully understand it. But there were a few things there that happened that made me kind of question, like, So today I was listening to sports radio in Kansas City because they are the funniest group of people that I've ever dealt with.
Same. I bet we heard both the same interviews.
Yeah, you go ahead then, Chrissy, so I can finish doing something real quick.
Okay. Well, so first, we hear the interview for Justin Tucker and they're asking him like what was going on. And he was like, oh, well, I've been the same thing for 12 years and, it wasn't a big deal. Pat asked me to move my stuff, so I moved it. And then, Kelce came in and he threw my helmet, he threw my thing, whatever. It wasn't a big deal. And I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to keep talking about it because it's not a big deal, but I'm going to keep talking about it. Okay, that was Justin Tucker. Then you have Carrington Harrison on The Drive, shout out. And he had his interview with Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes said, like, yeah, I've been doing the same routine for, 7, 8 years, whatever. And he goes, I've only had issues 3 times, and all 3 were in Baltimore. And he goes, like, I understand, like, we shared a field and everything, but the guy was like right where we're doing our warm-ups. And he said, so I asked him to move, and he moved his stuff like 2 inches. And if you saw a video of Justin Tucker, he had this little grin on his face the whole time. And I'm sitting here like before the game, my mom and I were talking, we were seeing the videos on Twitter, we'd seen it on TV, and we were just like, okay, first of all, if Justin Tucker, no offense, because he is one of the greatest kickers of all time, right? But if he's your muscle for gamesmanship to try to get in the heads of your opponents, that's a problem. And number 2, if you're wanting to show gamesmanship and try to get in the heads of players on the other team, do you really think your targets should be Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce? Like, come on, Justin Tucker, be smarter than that, man.
A little bit smarter.
Golly.
Like, is that really who you want to piss off, right?
Like Travis was ticked. Travis was so mad.
He wasn't going for it.
I understand that you're like one of the best kickers of all time. You're a kicker, and there's not a lot you can do to change the outcome of this game. So to piss off Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes is certainly a choice.
Yeah, and he really, being one of the best kickers of all time, really needed to practice those 7-yard field goals. So
absolutely. And so not only that, right? I was listening,
by the way.
I was listening to Cody and Gold today too, and they were talking about how like they pulled out the rule book and was like, let's talk about what the actual rules are
the rules
for warming up, right?
Yeah,
like, you have to be, I guess they said you have to be at least 40 yards from
it's like within the 45-yard line.
Right. And they were like, he was on the 1. He was within, he neglected it by 40 whole yards and proceeded to warm up. And mind you, the things that they were showing on TV, it was more of him stretching. You don't actually see him kicking field goals. You see him on the ground just kind of like, come on.
Yeah, and he's just like stretching with this grin, like, look, I'm pissing him off. And it's like,
I fully expect way more from you, KK. So I'll take that. But if you're gonna piss off Travis Kelce and he's going to have the best, he's having one of the best postseason careers.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
ever seen. So I'm just like, I can't.
It like floors me how he just gets better every single season.
Yeah.
Like even in an off year where he didn't hit the 1,000-yard mark, right? He was 16 yards away. My God.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Let's overreact to that.
Oh no.
16 yards away from 1,000 yards, and then having one of the best postseasons you could ask for, which is also passing up a lot of those Rice records with
Rice.
With another Rice.
Right, Jerry Rice. You got to be specific, Lexi.
Yeah, sorry,
got to be specific now, Lexi.
Jerry Rice, yes. Jerry Rice postseason records. Travis Kelce is passing those up, which is absolutely insane. He already passed the Gronk one of the touchdowns. Now he's passing Jerry Rice with those. And it's just phenomenal to watch him play. He went 11 targets for 11 catches. He didn't miss one catch.
Yeah, 105 yards and a touchdown on that.
I'm like, where was that during the season, for one? But for two, like the stretching of the body, the jump past the thing. I mean, just crazy to watch what he does. And I'm just mind blown every single time I watch him play football.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, of course, Travis Kelce missed that 1,000. He missed 16 yards to have a 1,000-yard season. But that catch he made for a first down, that will go in the Hall of Fame reel.
Like, oh, my gosh, it was glorious.
That was insane. First of all, I said this during the game actually, and then I kind of went back and laughed at myself. I said back spasm Travis Kelce couldn't do that. So that's how I know, like, I know that he's getting older, but he's still in amazing shape, clearly, to where he's able to go out and make
a healthy Travis.
Oh my God.
It's a scary freaking combination. It is
gonna be knocking all day long, y'all. Let me tell you, all day.
So thank you so much, Justin Tucker, for pissing off the two best players in the NFL. Like,
what are you doing?
Thank you so much. So, but no, okay. So let's talk about the very first drive from the Chiefs. Perfection. At one point in time, Patrick was 10 for 10. Like, very clean, and I do want to ask y'all, do you think that the game plan that we had going into the Ravens game maybe changed along the way once we seen how our defense was with their offense? Because I feel like we were more aggressive against the Bills than we were in the Ravens. Am I the only person who takes that away from this game?
No, I'd say we started out definitely more aggressive. And then when the second half hit, and I do think the Ravens defense, they are phenomenal, you guys, but they did make some adjustments. But I also think that maybe we saw what our defense was doing and we just kind of were going to do the best we needed to do. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't scoring on our defense. So, but like, there wasn't really a first down until like a lot of the second half. There was no first downs, right? Until the MVS thing. So yeah. I don't know. Like, I would like to see more of that first half Chiefs offense. I felt like we didn't really go for those plays in the second half, the same plays. Like, it felt like the aggressiveness definitely declined some. And it was actually funny because Tony Romo said something like, Andy Reid's not a what did he say? Because it was like totally opposite. Like, he's not a conservative coach, he's aggressive. And I was like, Tony, who you been watching? Like, he goes conservative a lot. Like, let's not go crazy.
Most of the season conservative, seriously.
That's what it felt like. So, but yeah, it was just, I loved our first half offense, especially those first three drives, whatnot. They looked freaking-tastic, and I loved it.
Our offense,
and we didn't have dropped balls minus the Richie James one, really.
There was like one, yeah. But honestly, our offense looked fantastic the entire first half. I think they actually had a lot of good plays in the second half. There was just that certain barrier to get over in the second half. They couldn't quite get over.
I think that the Ravens defense stepped up their physicality and their dirtiness in the second half, for sure.
And I honestly feel like we felt like we could win that game without doing a ton on offense in the second half, just because of the way our team was dominating their team.
But you can also see that they definitely made some second half adjustments, though.
They for sure did.
And our teams were the best at doing that in this season, which is why they happened,
Absolutely. Like,
they did shut down the run for a majority of the second half, though, the Ravens defense. They shut down. Pacheco was not getting the same yardage he was in the second half.
That was not
correct.
So that was a big difference too.
But we did say last week too, right? I said specifically, if Isaiah Pacheco and CEH can have a combine for anywhere from like 20 to 23 carries, we're going to win this game. And I believe between the two of them, we ended around 26. Yeah. So, I mean, even though the run game wasn't working, like we weren't getting the 4th and 1s, or we weren't getting, like the 3rd and 2s or whatever they are, times when you're supposed to actually run the ball, even though they were shutting it down, I'm very glad that they didn't give up on the run and they kept going after it. Too, I knew that if we can continue to do that, that is how we win this game. Right. And not only that is how we win this game, but that is how all of the teams that we've kind of played in this back half of the schedule, that's what they're doing too. The Ravens are known for running the ball. The Niners are known for running the ball. The Bills, Josh Allen, he's going to run the ball. So, I mean, that's how a lot of those teams have also won and got to the point to where they are today. Were today. Yeah. Well, the Niners are today. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I got you, girl.
I can't believe how much the Ravens abandoned their run. Like, they were the best run team for 30,
Yeah.
36 straight games, I think it said.
Now, I do think our defense, especially giving huge props to, I know we're not quite to the defense yet, but Drew Tranquil just rocking it out back there, doing great at run stuffing. I do feel like they were not being as successful on the run. And since our defense was holding them so well, they felt like they had to force the throws. But I do say, I'm still shocked that they didn't go for the run more. Like, you look, we're not even at this game, but you look at the 49ers, they kept running the ball against Detroit. Because they knew that is a huge key to victory. They kept doing it.
Yeah.
I just feel like Lamar Jackson wasn't having his best game, and you avoided or you stopped going to the run, which is a huge reason why your team has been so successful this season. And I just feel like they were forcing Lamar to have to do things that he is not doing all game long. They're putting it on his arm too much. The Ravens.
And that's how you know Spags is incredible, right?
Exactly.
Because that is what the goal is. The goal is to make Lamar Jackson throw the ball.
Yep.
And so you see
exactly
what happens when he throws the ball. And Lamar Jackson is amazing, but he did not look like himself at all this game.
And he is phenomenal. I love Lamar Jackson. I love him. I have a ton of respect for him. So I'm glad he didn't have, his typical wow, look at Lamar Jackson game. He had some flashes.
Yeah.
But it definitely was not what we expected, I think, going into that game, what we thought we were going to see. Honestly, so props to Spags. In Spags, we trust.
Oh, yeah. In Spags.
Yeah, I'm not buying that shirt.
I think.
Me neither. It's too expensive. $65. Sorry, I'm poor.
I think Lamar Jackson and their offense looked pretty flustered just from the get-go.
Yeah.
They were 3 and out on their first drive.
That was awesome.
And he just looked lost, and their whole entire offense looked lost, right? Like, it just kind of looked like it just wasn't in sync the entire game. And I think this is just a theory, but I kind of think Harbaugh's point was to make Lamar look like he could do all of that, which I think he is capable of being a pocket passer. I think he is capable of doing all those things. But to go away from your run completely in the most important game of your entire season where it's been so successful for you is a bad look. And you made it kind of go on Lamar to where you're just making him pass. And you have decent weapons, but it just, I don't know. Zay Flowers, he's a rookie. He was undisciplined. They played very undisciplined football.
I think that's where the experience came in. The Chiefs have so much experience having this run that we've had for the last 6-7 years, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like
people said that wouldn't be a thing, but it was definitely.
I mean, the Ravens, they haven't been to the AFC Championship or at least hosted it since 1971. So it had been a while. So
that wasn't even in Baltimore.
Experience was an issue. I know our defense is young, but our defense went to the Super Bowl last year and they had to step up and they had to graduate as rookies within the first 10 weeks of the season last year. So our guys have that experience. And when you have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce leading your team, Chris Jones, those guys who have been there, done that a bunch of times, experience is going to matter. And Andy Reid leading his team to this point so many times for 2 different franchises, experience is going to win out for sure. So I feel like people weren't talking about that enough the last week.
Which is their fault because that should be common sense. Let's talk about the Chiefs receivers and how great they were. So you kind of already said it, right? Travis Kelce, 11 for 116, which is crazy. He was averaging 10 yards a carry. Catch.
And his touchdown was glorious.
Yeah, it was against Kyle Hamilton. And Kyle Hamilton is one of the best defensive players in the NFL.
He may be the best safety in the league.
Yeah.
Safety linebacker, whatever. Yeah.
He was everywhere on that field.
Everywhere. Yes. Agreed, Lexi. That dude was flying all over. It was, but we fully expected.
If I were a Ravens fan, he'd be my player of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice, 8 for 46. MVS, 2 for 38. Again. He was 2 for 36 last week. Justin Watson, 1 for 16.
MVS
playoff MVS.
When Isaiah Pacheco was a receiver, because we seen that the running game wasn't going that great. 4 for 14. Noah Gray, 2 for 8. So let's just end it there. So when you talk about Travis Kelce, MVS, and Rashee Rice, that's the same formula that we had last week in the Bills game. Brought that to this week too. The Ravens game. So one, I just want to, talk about coaching, and I'm glad that we took this moment to continue to do what was right. Keep doing what's working, right? And so they did that. They followed through to that. They didn't overthink it, overcomplicate it. And those dudes had a really good day. Rashee Rice, Rashee Rice was great.
Yeah.
And for being a rookie and going through the gauntlet that we've went through the last few weeks and the teams that we've had to play, and the Ravens are incredibly physical. There was I don't know if y'all saw it. So Rashee Rice got hit and he kind of flew like, yeah. Did y'all see that? Right.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, Rashee, please get up.
But I know, I was like, Rashee, be okay.
Yeah, I actually laughed really, really hard about how he kind of flailed in the air and hit the ground. But then
he's waving his hands in the air.
But he gave it back though. Like he gave that karma right back, and he hit truck stick somebody too, right? So when you talk about these receivers on this team, and of course, 2 of the 3 guys I named, they're Super Bowl champions. They got rings last year. One of them's a rookie. What are your thoughts about the receivers and how they played and how they've really just been able to come through adversity over these last few weeks, going in a hostile environments back to back to back, and still kind of keeping their head on straight, no drops, doing what they need to do, fighting for the first downs and all of that? What are y'all thoughts about that?
I really do feel like we talked about this on Fox 4, the first time we appeared on Fox 4, we talked about this throughout the season, how we needed the Chiefs to really consolidate their wide receivers and their targets. And that's what they've done. And since they've done that, our offense has looked more like the offenses of old. I'm not saying that they are the 2021 offense, right? Because they're not still. However, once they started to consolidate and really utilize the run game, it's helped our wide receivers get open. So MVS can make those plays, or Rashee Rice can make those plays. Noah Gray has had some great catches. Justin Watson has had some great catches. So I really want to point out, I know Rashee Rice, the last 2 games, he's had a lot of targets and he's hit maybe in the 40 to 50 yard range.
Yeah.
Just because he's not having a lot of yards in these last 2 games, as a rookie, number one, to be playing and making the big time catches that he is making catches in huge moments. Absolutely. In hostile environments. And to see that out of a first year player who really didn't start being utilized till, halfway through the season, huge props to Rashee Rice.
It's really exciting to see his entire, he would have had, how big was that touchdown? How many yards was that? That probably would have gotten him at least to 90 yards.
Oh, yeah. It was a huge touchdown off a really soft holding call.
Be taken away. Yeah. So we got to remember those things too, of Rashee, that was not on him at all. And honestly,
or the last game either, Lexi, not the Bills game, the Dolphins game, he had 2 touchdowns taken away then too. So not even just then.
And it's it wasn't even at least this game. They called it on Trey Smith, and I know refereeing has been a whole thing, right? But that was, it didn't even affect the play, what he did. So it's really frustrating to see that kind of play for Rashee Rice be taken away. And even Rashee commented on that today. He was just yeah, sheesh.
Those two calls on Trey Smith back to back
were wild.
The first one, I was like, okay. All right. Once they replayed it and I watched it, I was like, I can see where they get this holding call fine.
Right.
But the second one, I'm like, okay, that's incredibly soft. You're trying to control the game. You're trying to keep it from being a blowout.
Also, can we talk?
Calm down.
What happened to Sean Smith's voice?
The referee, I'm wondering if he has the same cold that we have all been dealing with.
Poor guy.
It did start raining. It started raining in the game.
Poor guy.
So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Who knows? Again, remember they called a timeout because
he was going through puberty.
They called a timeout because the drone was having issues, which was
the administrative.
I kind of want to talk about
that. The administrative timeout.
I kind of want to talk about that.
Never heard of that.
Because the Chiefs were getting ready to get them off the field, and all of a sudden they had to call an administrative timeout for the drone. My bad. And so in that moment, I was incredibly frustrated because you're now giving both teams a timeout, which was great because our defense did get to rest, right? But now you're letting the Ravens sit down and actually come up with a play call to where they can go score, which they did with Zay Flowers. So
it was a beautiful touchdown too.
It was a beautiful freaking touchdown. But the point is get your daggum technology together.
Oh, real.
Because if that would have been the other way around, they would have been like, oh, they gave the Chiefs a free timeout. They gave them a reason to come up with a play so they could go score. So I'm just keeping the same energy that y'all would have gave us. I hate that they gave them that timeout. Like, and I get it, whatever. Like, turn the drone off in the stands and let it fall. Like, whatever. But yeah, that was just kind of my thought about that. But yeah, I don't know what happened to his voice. I'm gonna blame it on the fact that it started raining like halfway through.
And I mean, my voice every time I coach on the weekends, my voice goes out. So it was something like that. I lose my voice every weekend, and I hate it. Every weekend after I coach, my voice is gone halfway through the day.
He caught a cold mid-game.
Which, I mean, hey, because apparently the weather was
maybe
really nice.
He had some crap in his throat and it got stuck and he didn't have time to clear it out. And he was like, great, now I'm going to sound terrible.
Throwing them Gatorades and water bottles, man.
Who was it?
It happens. Y'all not just throwing them Gatorades and water bottles.
I can't believe we're talking about his voice right now.
Let's talk about the offensive line. So out, right? Nick Allegretti had to step up.
Allegretti. Okay. I got to give this man his flowers. Okay. You know that crazy play where Mahomes was, scrambling for what felt like ages, and then he threw that amazing play or pass to Kelce, who, we talked about the Hall of Fame when we already talked about it. If you watch that play, Nick Allegretti, man, he was blocking his butt off.
Yes, he was.
And oh my gosh, guys, without his effort on that play does not happen.
I agree.
Woo, he did a great job. That's probably our offensive line during the playoffs. It is the best they've played in a long time.
Bless.
Our O-line has definitely stepped it up a notch for sure.
Yeah.
So
I will get to my thoughts on Nick Allegretti and our players of the game because he is mine. But just our O-line in general, our tackles stepped up. I mean, that entire line just did fantastic this entire game against a really good D-line. Against a D-line that had the most sacks in the league.
And a very physical, aggressive D-line.
Absolutely.
Very aggressive. So I'm just from top to bottom, our offense, there were some misses. There were maybe some things that didn't work
always
as much in the second half. But in that first half, man, they just looked phenomenal. Blocking plays. Blake Bell had some really good blocking plays. Noah Gray had some good catches. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was out there doing his thing. Pacheco's always doing his thing.
Yeah, sure.
Just our offense in general in this entire first half did really well. It's not great that they got shut out the second half, but when they needed to come in clutch, they did. So that's all you need to do to win a game is throw that crazy ball to MVS, rely on him to make that catch, and he did. And it's like, what else can you ask for on that?
So the O-line was incredible. Absolutely agree with y'all. I'm not going to tap any more on that. But yeah, Chrissy has cats and dogs.
I have a homestead.
She has a farm.
I do. I have a lot of animals, and they love me. And
she
apparently
thinks your dog, and then your cat.
Okay. I had to go get my dog because so I have this puppy in my house right now, and he's got a big head, and he got his head stuck between the or the end table and the couch, and he was whining, and I was like, Coda, what did you do? By the time I got there, he was saved, but I was like, I'm gonna bring you over here. I'm gonna keep an eye on you.
You're like, okay, ladies, we need to keep this podcast within the time frame today because there's things happening outside. And then
my animals are ruining it.
I'm really cracking up. But no,
that's great.
So back to the O-line. They were in the beginning half of this game. They were creating some incredible holes for Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
Like the way that he won, I guess that has to do with being short and little. The way he's able to duck and make his way through the hole and just
okay.
Like the whole time I'm watching, I was like, wow, that's a really big hole.
I have to tell you something.
It made his way through.
There was one of the runs Pacheco made, guys, where I don't even know how he made it through there. He made it through this teeny tiny little hole. And I was looking at my mom and I was like, man, that looked like childbirth.
Ma'am.
And my mom just died. I was like, that's what childbirth looks like. This tiny guy, or this big person get through this tiny little hole.
Sorry for all of you people who may be on here who may be underage, who don't understand what childbirth is, because I don't either. I don't have children. I don't either. But honestly, the way that you kind of do that, I was just like, there's no way. Like, one, we already know he runs angry and he's gonna figure out a way to get through wherever he needs to get through. But the way that the line, like, because everybody was already like, oh my God, we have a backup in, right? Even though I wouldn't consider Allen Grady a backup. Like, he's played in the Super Bowl. He
deserves to be a starter on a team somewhere.
He really does, but no, right? No, he can't.
Right, like you can't leave, but
you can't have him. So
we know you deserve it.
And so I think that because the O-line was able to create that for Pacheco, they were maybe just assuming that would also happen for CEH, but CEH is not nearly as angry and aggressive as
he's a stout little guy too. Like, yeah.
Lexi's cracking up. Lexi's dying laughing.
I'm out of control, guys. I'm so sorry.
I want to read through this really quickly, and then y'all just tell me y'all thoughts. So I'm going to go through the whole game just real quickly and talk about every quick possession, right?
Right.
Touchdown, turnover on downs, which we probably need to talk about 4th and 1. Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Wait, which one?
The Travis Kelce, like first,
the one we didn't get where we
had 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, and we turned it over on downs. We could have kicked the field goal.
We're gonna talk about that in a second.
Okay, keep going.
Touchdown, turnover on downs, punt, field goal. Now we're in the second half. Punt, end of game. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possessions where we scored 0 points.
Yeah. That's a little bit of a problem, but
so what does that come down to? Does that come and so this is why I say,
and there were some plays.
I think Andy Reid changed it up and got conservative when he seen when Andy seen, because there were some things we did really well. We controlled time of possession like nothing, right? Like, even though we weren't scoring, we were taking the ticks off the clock. We were running that time down. But I feel like Andy seen that, and he seen how well the defense was doing, and I feel like he went conservative.
That's what I was saying.
I really do.
Yeah, here's something I was thinking, because we did still try running the ball, and running the ball just was not working in the second half.
Not working.
I wonder how much of that was adjustments by the Ravens. But also, I'm wondering if Pacheco's toe started bothering him more in the second half because he had been running so well in the first half. Because it really was like night and day. Like, Pacheco was busting through there. And then the second half, like I said, it's very possible. I haven't watched all the film, but that the Ravens definitely made some adjustments there, and that the defense was feeling the pressure that they had to make stops. Because at that point they were probably desperate, right? Like, hey, our offense isn't doing anything. We have to make stops. We have to make sure they don't score, which they did. But we did stop. Like, we were running the ball still. It just wasn't going anywhere. And part of me wonders how much of that is adjustments and also his toe. Maybe he couldn't push off and get the burst he did like the first half.
Sean said something that I actually said during the game. He said we didn't pass the ball one time on first down. We didn't. I actually called that out too. There was actually a few drives where I said we didn't throw the ball at all.
Yeah.
We ran the ball on first, second, and third down. Like,
which is not typical Andy Reid.
You know what's frustrating about that is like the times we want him to run or when he doesn't. And then when he does, it's like when it's not working.
Throw the ball, Andrew.
But the thing is it's not like our passing game was bad. Patrick, again, at one point, he was
actually would have been better to probably pass it.
Yeah, exactly. He was lights out.
There was one play where it was like 3rd and 17, and we like throw it on the screen to Pacheco, and he gains like.
I know. I was like, "That's not gonna work. Like, what are you doing?" To me, it almost looks like
they can.
It almost. Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, if I'm reading this, they're reading this. I said the exact same thing. And like, I almost wonder, like you guys are saying, like we went conservative. I feel like Andy was like, we're not going to get an interception because the Ravens are one of the top teams, if not the top team in the league at taking the ball away. So it makes me think that we were thinking like, hey, Pacheco, Edwards-Helaire, whoever, hold 2 hands, hold on the ball. Do not lose the ball. We're not going to throw it. We're not going to throw it as often. We don't want an interception, pick six. We don't want any of that. So I don't
definitely
know.
think
We'll
the
never
Ravens-
know, but
I do think the Ravens adjusted, but
for sure.
again, I think we played more aggressive in the Bills game than the Ravens game, especially in the
But
second
you know
half.
what I think too is like I actually think if we needed to score in like the fourth quarter, I think we could have.
I think we could have turned it
agree.
on.
More aggressive, and I think we could have.
We've seen us turn it on before, and we're just like, "Where's that been?" It was just like easy.
Yeah.
They just walked down the field.
We didn't need to, so it was very conservative play calling.
Yeah,
And
I mean, but one field goal would have been nice, Lexi.
Of course, obviously.
Yeah.
But
my thing is, I'm just trying to like see what they were seeing.
They saw. Because I guess it was what 17-7. No, it was
17-7 for a good chunk of the game,
until 2
right?
minutes left.
Yeah,
it was 17-7 until 2:36. Then they scored a field goal.
Yeah, which
So,
is
like,
why I'm like, Andy's like, all right, we're gonna run the ball, run the clock, and let the defense do their thing because the defense was smart.
And I also think like that last drive where it was like a minute whatever left, and we were very aggressive and threw it to MVS, and Patrick was like, give me the ball, give me the ball. Like, I'm gonna throw it, I'm gonna get it to him, I'm gonna get it to my guy. And he did. And I think if we needed to go score on that drive, we absolutely would have, but we didn't need to. And Andy's the kind of guy who's not going to run the score up on you. So he's like, all right, just
boo.
Fine.
Boo.
But
score 50.
I mean, that's how he wins. That's what
score
he does.
50.
I know.
How many times, like, we can count on one hand the number of times Chiefs have like completely blown out an opponent in the last so many years. Like, we just don't do that, you know.
Not at all this year.
They don't want to.
Which is
that's totally,
and that makes me go back to thinking Andy doesn't want to show everything in his book.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about that fourth down conversion. So we went for 4th and 2. Non-conversion. We went for 4th and 2, converted it, score, right? And now, so I just want to say, I'm not angry at going for 4th and 1. I supported it. I supported every minute of it, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many things that I feel like there's never a right answer, right? Why did you run the ball? You should have threw the ball. Patrick was perfect. And if we would have threw the ball, he would have missed, right? Why did you throw the ball? You have Isaiah Pacheco. Run the ball, right?
Yeah.
Or if we wouldn't have just went for the field goal, why would you not go for the field goal? So I feel like there's so many different scenarios that could have happened in that situation. But I know me, I was okay with going in 4th and 1. What was y'all thoughts about it?
I was fine with the call to try to go for the 4th and 1. I do feel like I can't believe I'm saying this. We've gotten pretty good at short yardage situations. It's definitely something we fixed in the course of the season. And I feel like their defense was like, you know what? We want them to throw this ball. We're gonna stop them, or we're gonna stop any run they try to bring at us. Like, we're going to keep this line solid, because I just think they had a feeling it was going to Pacheco because it's been working. And so I would have appreciated maybe something a little different, like maybe a screen or just a little toss to like Travis or Noah Gray or even Justin Watson, somebody just over, 5 yards, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the less expected play call than trying to give it to Pacheco on a 4th and 1 when their D line is as dominant as they are.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad at them giving it to Pacheco. I'm not mad at them going for the 4th and 1. Would a field goal have been nice? Yes. But I also agree. Andy said, I felt like points were going to be incredibly important against this team. And so I'm not mad at the decision. It's not like a Dan Campbell decision. Let's be real. So
right. No, it wasn't like it actually cost us the game. So
exactly
in that scenario, I'm not mad at it at all. And
no,
I think
we're still winners.
Convert some other ones. So I mean, the ones looked good on. Like, I actually loved the aggressiveness of. I think it was our first drive that it was like 4th and 3 or something, and Andy's like, "Let's go for it," and we converted it. So I love that actually, and I love that Andy went for that because we've been begging him to do that all season long. Where
absolutely
the field goal.
I was like, "Oh my God, is this playoff Andy Reid?"
Yeah, I know. We love it. So like, I'm not mad at it. I think Kelce had an argument to have that 4th down or that 3rd down.
He was short. He was short.
But then when you actually re-looked at it, he was short. But like in the moment,
in the moment, and then they showed the other replay, and I was like, oh yeah, he actually was short.
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't challenge that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the defense for a little bit because my laptop is dying and I forgot my cord.
Oh no.
Okay, let's talk
about the Chiefs defense in this Ravens game. Lights out once again. Lights out once.
Turn my light out. That's what that didn't. That was not dramatic at all. That was supposed to be dramatic.
L'Jarius Sneed.
They were this.
Yeah, lights out.
Sorry.
That's exactly what they were. L'Jarius Sneed. You literally couldn't ask for more from an all-pro. So that's what I'm.
Oh my God.
I know that they said that the writer said that he's not an all-pro. He's very much an all-pro, and stop disrespecting L'Jarius Sneed.
Stop it.
They held the Ravens to 3 points in the second half.
And 10 points overall. You know how hard that is? Like, good Lord. Guys,
you know what? I was told we didn't even need to play this game because the Ravens should win. And I was told it would be like 50-10 Ravens.
Don't even show up. Why are you coming? The Chiefs are going to lose by 14. Y'all didn't even score 14.
No.
I posted a tweet earlier last week or middle of the week last week sometime. I don't remember. Nobody was talking about our secondary. And I mean, they weren't really talking about our defense, but especially our secondary, who has been keeping number one wide receivers, the best wide receivers in the NFL, to nothing this whole season. And nobody was talking about it. And look what they did out there. McDuffie playing awesome. Sneed. Whoo! You want to taunt me? I will force a fumble on the goal line, sir. Thank you very much.
Can we just talk about that Zay Flowers drive?
His rookie showed.
Now,
absolutely.
He had a fantastic catch, but you don't get to stand over that guy.
No,
and the ball on him.
Are you crazy?
I know. And do I think taunting rules are stupid? Yes, I think taunting is stupid. But it's a rule, and you can't. It is so obvious. You cannot stand over a guy like Lexi said and spin the ball and just stare at him. Like, they're going to call that. Whether it's a stupid penalty, they're going to call it.
They were mad about like something Travis Kelce did, and I'm like, Travis Kelce does it really smart in the way that he might make a face, but he does it away from you, and he'll do it.
Travis got them like people got him his whole rookie year.
Yeah,
Travis gave them what people did to him his first few years of being in the NFL, because Travis Kelce was a hothead for a very long time. And he's learned how to revert that energy back.
He still kind of is, but like...
he's a different kind of hothead, though, now. A little different kind of hothead.
He's grown. He's learned to let things go and ignore people. Best thing you could do. But it's really unfortunate because Zay Flowers went 5 for 115, and he's going to be remembered for that taunting call.
Yeah.
So
and
that really sucks.
Both number 4, so both rookie wide receivers, number 4 for the Ravens and for the Chiefs, they both played phenomenal. And absolutely. I do feel absolutely terribly for Zay Flowers, because yes, while I've said the taunting rule or the taunting penalty in general is stupid, it is still a rule, and you have to know there are certain things you cannot do, especially in the heat of the moment.
Absolutely.
And I just think Zay Flowers, that moment, he was so hyped up after that amazing catch he had, that he let that moment, that big moment, get to him, and he let his emotions fly, and you just can't do that. But that's also something that comes with experience.
They literally took themselves out of field goal range with back-to-back penalties.
Yeah.
I was like, keep it up, because now y'all are mad, and I love it.
Yeah.
Because if you want to take yourself out of field goal range, you keep on ahead. And Lamar Jackson, the leader he is, tried to calm them down.
Yeah,
he's like, y'all, we are like right here.
And we're too emotional.
You know what? I respect the Ravens. I respect like Zay Flowers. He's awesome. He's gonna be
a problem.
He's gonna be a monster.
Yeah.
Lamar and
great draft pick.
They're fantastic, but it's just that thing, like we said, it's just the inexperience just showing a little bit, and that's why.
And I guarantee you, he never does that again.
Absolutely not.
No, and they just. But what's weird is like for a Harbaugh team to play that undisciplined. It just
like do you remember the when their defensive line, I don't remember who it was, Van Dye or whoever it was, Van Noy. When he like just ran through our line and just like flew.
And
and it was like, dude, like, what are you doing?
Why would
like,
you do that? And they said
why?
that. Oh, wait. Are you talking about when? Are you talking about when
Mm-hmm.
it gave them when we had the 1st and 5 and it put them in 1st and 10? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it was the one after that where they gave him a personal foul.
Yeah, no,
because he didn't. It wasn't just like a. Because I do remember that one, but yeah,
they did that on purpose. Which was
Come
smart.
here.
Van Noy he's won a Super Bowl before. He knows better than that. And I think emotions of the game, they get high, and it totally happens. And I think we saw that during.
Oh, it was Roquan. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah, it was Roquan. Yeah.
Thanks, Taylor.
We saw that during our regular season with the Chiefs' undisciplined football, where we're like, this is not an Andy Reid team. Like, these penalties, the stuff that keeps happening. We saw that during our regular season, but I think we all knew that, like, come playoff time, our team gets it together and we don't play undisciplined football like that.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big difference maker this game, and I think a lot of people overlooked that going into this.
It
showed.
We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Oh, she'll be back.
No.
Hi. Oh my God.
What happened?
Momentarily, that's gonna be me very soon.
Just came back. It's a magic trick.
I disappeared.
Yeah, you did. You left the whole entire thing.
That's so weird. I didn't even notice.
I said she'll be back.
I literally heard it. Like, oh, she'll be back. I literally heard it. So weird.
So let's take a second to talk about Charles Omenihu and how amazing he is. How unfortunate it is that he is out this season with an ACL. So we only signed him on a 2-year deal, which means next year it's a very high possibility he might not be ready at the beginning of the season. Which also
think of like Juan Thornhill.
Yeah.
Remember Juan Thornhill? He hurt his ACL, and I think the championship game, the AFC championship game, and he was back next season, but he was a shell of himself. He wasn't actually back, like he was, but.
Yeah.
Oh, it just breaks.
That's so sad.
It breaks my heart. Like Charles Omenihu, he already had a suspension he went through. Then he came back and had like 6 straight sacks and 6 straight games. He's been a force on this defense. I mean, even in this game alone, before he went out, he had a strip fumble sack where George
had a huge play.
Yeah.
He's been so good on this D-line. Just a phenomenal addition with George and Chris and Mike and and he came to Kansas City because I loved his story from the get-go. Is like he couldn't get there with San Francisco. He couldn't get there with the Texans. Like he couldn't get over that championship game. He came to Kansas City to get to that championship game and play in that Super Bowl with us. And we make the Super Bowl and he's not going to be able to play. And it's against his old team.
We'll still get him a ring though.
I think we will, but I just hate that he can't play in the game because that has to feel like a slight to you.
No, it definitely has to feel like a slight, especially because he's playing against his old team. But I think that's even going to make our defense kick it into an even higher gear. Like when you look at this past game, we were missing so many key people, right?
Yeah.
Willie Gay was out. Yeah. He went out halfway through the game. Joe Tooney was like, we were missing so many valuable people in this game, and we were still able to figure out a way to play vanilla and win, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that with all of that being said and all of that adversity, they're going to go and win a ring for him because he has made an impact on this defense from the second he stepped on the field. Like, and not only that, like I said the other day, I love him for all the things that he did on and off the field. Like, he was so frustrated about the Dolphins game and it being on Peacock and going out and buying all of those memberships for Chiefs Kingdom in the community. So it's like Charles Omenihu has been huge for this team on and off the field. So that's what makes me think even more like they're going to go out and do what they need to do to make sure that he gets a ring. Let's get into our player of the games real quick. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Just to end it. I just really want him to know how appreciative we are of him and his play and what he did to get us to this point. And Charles, I hope you know you're loved, and I hope you recover well in this off season. And I know it might take a while, but we welcome you back when you're ready to come back. So
yeah, totally agree.
Hopefully get this.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Player of the game. Who wants to go first?
I'll go before my children become more chaotic and loud. Well, too late. My player of the game, I'm giving it to Travis Kelce. Seriously, please stop it. Travis Kelce, guys, like I feel like we take, I don't want to say we take for granted just his greatness, but him breaking the all-time receptions record, and having the game he did, and just being the beast he was and the leader he was on the field, I have to give him my player of the game. So Travis for me.
Agreed. Perfect. Yeah.
Sorry, my
my
golf clap.
No. Yeah, Travis Kelce's freaking phenomenal. Breaking all those records and whatnot. My player of the game is Nick Allegretti, stepping in for All-Pro Joe Tooney. Nick Allegretti, he had the highest pass block rating of our entire O-line.
Incredible.
He just stepped in so flawlessly. I mean, I don't know what else you can ask for in a guy like that. I mean,
his after interview.
I know his after game.
Oh my God, it made me cry.
Tearing up, wanting to find his family, and I'm just so proud of him. He's been an awesome guy on this team for 5 years now. He's had the big guy touchdown in the postseason. He's just such a fun player. He's such a staple to our Chiefs team. He can fill in wherever we need him, and he did fantastic at left guard. Yeah. And I think we might end up with him in this Super Bowl. I don't know that Joe Tooney is going to be able to go from what it's like.
And you know what? That sucks for Joe Tooney because is he just the ultimate professional? But you know what? I feel totally comfortable with Allegretti in there.
I love 100% so much. But yeah, Allegretti, awesome.
Agree, 1,000%. Actually, 1,000%. My player of the game is actually not a player. It is going to be Andy Reid. Because he like what? Andy Reid is really the best coach in the NFL. So just to kind of go over his stat line, because he does also have a stat line. He's been a head coach for 11 years. He's had 10 playoff berths, 8 division titles, 4 conference champion titles, and he's won 2 Super Bowls on the way to winning his 3rd next week. So my player of the game is Andy Reid. I know all the fans and everybody heckle him for being conservative or doing this or not doing that, but he's literally the GOAT of the NFL. Every team wants Andy Reid to be their head coach. So I think it is very important that we take a moment and we thank our big HC. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Great.
Andy Reid. So
y'all. 4 Super Bowls in 5 years.
It's crazy.
Like, huh?
Yeah. Nuts.
Never would have thought we'd see that. I was scrolling through my Facebook memories today. Yeah, I was scrolling through my Facebook memories today, and I came across this thing, and it's like, do you guys remember that season where the Chiefs went a whole season without a wide receiver touchdown? I was like, I do remember that.
Yeah,
season.
I remember the pain.
I don't. Why are my Facebook memories giving me these memories? And then I was like, but hey, look at us now. My Facebook memories are so full of bad Chiefs memories. Like, they're so full of them.
Like, it's not cute. It's not fun.
It wasn't fun.
He's like top 5 all time.
All time.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Top 5
unbelievable. So I love that pick. And I love Tammy Reid. Shout out to her. She's a queen.
Oh my gosh. She is
just right by his side holding his hand all the time.
Did you guys watch the episode of The Franchise where Tammy was talking about all the Santa Clauses that Andy buys her? I was just like, oh my God, you guys are so cute. Like, look at Andy Reid being a sweet gentleman buying his wife Santa Clauses all the time.
Oh my
God. His text to Drew Tranquil.
I know. I love that Drew shared that with us.
I was like seeing a teacher outside of school when I saw those texts.
See you next year, Drew. That's what I'm taking that as. See you next year, Drew.
Seeing rings. Yeah, no.
We better re-sign him.
I just love him.
All right, let's get into the Super Bowl preview.
Niners defeated the Lions. And the Lions had a 17-point lead.
The Lions imploded.
Woo.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Chiefs Niners rematch in the Super Bowl. We are wearing red on white again, which you know what happened last time before that. So
We won.
Quick thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Very,
Like,
very,
which one?
very-
Fun, don't worry.
I was really concerned.
Yeah, we won.
Fine.
Quick thoughts about the preview, even though we're gonna dive all into it next week with our special guests, which I'm really excited about.
Stay tuned. We will dive into like fully.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
say my cliff notes that I'm excited to see, for one, I think our offense has gone up against some juggernauts in the last few weeks, especially against Buffalo and especially against the Ravens.
Yeah.
And they've shown some awesome plays. So I'm excited to see our offense against San Francisco. I know they've got a good or defense, but I don't know if, going up against the best against the Ravens, like that's a great test.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait. I think the thing I'm most excited for is to see what Spags draws up to make Brock Purdy uncomfortable.
I cannot wait. Take Brock
Cannot
Purdy
wait.
for 2 interceptions.
If not,
Take him for an interception and a fumble.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw that
coming.
DOA we've gone up against this season, but versus the
Yeah.
Dolphins, the Bills, the Ravens, then the Niners, if we win, it's the actual hardest path to a Super
Correct.
Bowl for any team
Yeah.
in NFL history.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Add regular season in there too, if you would like. Add regular season, the
Yeah,
last 3 regular season games too, if you would
right.
like.
Yeah, if you would have asked me when we were losing 5 of 8 games that we would have to go through the Dolphins, then Buffalo, then Baltimore to make it to a Super Bowl, I'd be like,
On the road?
"Oh,
On the road?
like that's not good."
But
But look at us now.
honestly, I just want to shout out to our freaking defense. They are so underrated. They are so good. They are carrying us here. Our offense has stepped it up completely in this postseason.
Yeah.
And the two of them together, I don't see us losing. Now, we'll get into that next week. I know, knock on wood, all that stuff. All that good stuff. But like going through Tua and Tyreek and then Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and their tight ends and then Lamar and their high-powered offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And making it here to this point, like I am just so freaking proud of this team. They made it this far. They have the opportunity to do the craziest thing ever and win this Super Bowl in Patrick Mahomes' most down year of the season, right? Or of his time, I should say, not
Career.
Yeah, like last year was a
what happens
rebuilding
when
year.
you have-
This year is a down year.
Yeah,
It's
that's what happens when you
unreal.
have a team full of dudes who did this last year.
So
Like
And
that's
the
what
year
happens when you have
before,
a team
and
full of
what the
champions
teams are
who-
doing right now,
And our year 2 guys are probably more fired up than the rest of the team. Like I think our year 2 guys are more hyped than Patrick, than Travis, than
you know,
they're
who's
like,
high?
we did this last year, we're running it back and doing it again. And Trent McDuffie says something like that. He
Okay.
was like, it's a blessing to be going to the
Can I
Super Bowl
just
2 years in a
say-
row. So I mean, I'll take it.
Trent McDuffie might be my favorite postseason player of this team right now.
He's my favorite person in the world.
He's so
Like
you just see that in his eyes when he speaks and he does his
yeah.
interviews and all. He's just like, no,
Very-
we are here. We're here to win. Like we're not going
he's
home.
dead ass.
That's how
about the
George
words that he
Karlaftis
says.
is. Did you guys hear
of
his?
them. Did you see their
Yeah.
hug after the game?
Yes.
George and Trent, their hug.
Yes.
They're like,
But man, George Karlaftis had this quote, and like I can't see all the words, but I think it was it Aaron Ladd or somebody was talking to him about it, and it was talking about all these things leading up to the game. He's like, I don't give a what about it. Like we got one more, and I was just like, that's the
not
kind
done.
of
Patrick said
attitude
it too.
I like.
Patrick said it too. He's like,
Woo.
job's not done. We got one more.
they
I'm
all
like,
know.
Yeah,
Repeating Super Bowl champs. This is a different vibe than when
yeah.
it
we
hasn't
had
been
the
done.
Bucks Super
since-
Bowl a few years ago, and we were repeating that.
20 years, Jodi. I think 20 years.
It hasn't been done since a long
20 years.
long
20
time.
years.
20
And
years.
if there's another check mark, another check box that the Chiefs can check off to make history, they're gonna go after it.
Yeah.
So I love that so much.
No,
for us.
it's fantastic.
Love that for us. So,
So
yeah.
excited.
So
Oh.
again, next
Oh,
week
we're
we're gonna
freaking going to
fully-
the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl.
we got 12 days of talking about going to the
Unbelievable.
Super Bowl.
On
So
the
again-
12th day of the Super Bowl run. No, I'm not kidding. I'm sorry.
Ah,
I'm sorry.
we're gonna fully dive in the Super Bowl next week. I'm pretty sure the whole show It's gonna be Super Bowl.
Oh,
We're gonna have a guest. It's gonna
And it'll be the day
amazing.
after media night too for the Super Bowl. So
I
that'll
can't
be
wait.
lots to talk about.
There's so much to talk about next week.
Yes, there
and we have a really
is.
fun guest joining us, so please tune in.
Can't wait.
And so much to talk about. Like
so much.
I can't wait. Super Bowl rematch.
Get into the sponsor, Lexi.
We got our
out of cans. I'm like out of cans. I'm really sad.
I'm pacing myself because we're running out, but we got our trusty old Kin Seltzer, and they are okay. Why is my mind
made with 100% fruit? I'm like, let me help her. Made with 100% fruit, no artificial sugars, only 100 calories a can. And you can get it from anywhere in downtown Kansas City and in Kansas City. There's 15 plus locations. Our favorite place to get it is Boulevard Brewery, of course. Clean, refreshing, mix it with anything, really good with a mimosa. I love it with juice. It's even better with champagne. You can't mess up. Add a little tequila, however you want. You could do a cute little, no, you can't. Anyway, you can add it with anything. It's really good. It's delicious. It's refreshing. And you definitely need to make sure you have a case for the Super Bowl, because why wouldn't you? 100% fruit, no artificial sugars. So shout out to Kin Seltzer. If you're not following the sponsor, follow the sponsor.
Do it
They've
now.
been amazing. They've been amazing.
Well, you guys, once again for the fourth time in 5 years, it's crazy we can say this. The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl rematch against the 49ers. This next week is going to be crazy. I don't know. For whoever is on Twitter, wherever, guys, we've officially become the villain, and it's awesome. So
I love it.
Ignore the haters. Just
it
remember when you were doing it to the Patriots, now we get that awesome job of being the villain now. So enjoy this week. Don't take anything too seriously. We got Super Bowl media night on Monday. Can't wait to see all the awesome coverage for that.
Are they flying out Saturday or Sunday?
They'll be there Monday for sure. So
are they flying?
I'm assuming Sunday.
I was trying to remember last year what day they flew out, and I couldn't remember.
They've got this down pat 4 out of 5 years. Like they got it.
No jokes there. Andy Reid was saying in his press conference yesterday, the guys met on Monday with a meeting, and then
they'll be off till Thursday, right?
Thursday. Good. And then they should time off. Sunday. So
they deserve time off. Relax, recover. Spend time with your family, because they're probably not going to see them.
Watch film.
Yeah, you're not going to see them next week, probably. They probably won't spend this couple days.
And they already know, because this is their first rodeo, and I'm very happy that we have. I know we're getting into this next week, but I cannot wait to see. Like, our year 2 guys are my favorite people, and they were my favorite people last year, and they are still my favorite people.
Unbelievable draft class.
Yeah, like they are my favorite people, and I feel like they are going to lead the rookies and all the new people in a way next week. Yeah, that and Patrick and Travis, I feel like Patrick, Travis, Chris, Legarius, they're gonna do their job as leaders, but I feel like the year 2 guys are really just gonna take everybody under their wing. We got this. Don't worry, we got this. So.
Yeah. Well, we're going to head out. Oh, just kidding. Lexi's got one more.
Quick, I just want to say, for all the haters in the comments, keep hating.
Keep hating. Haters going to hate.
So just keep hating. I don't care. I promise you, I don't care.
We don't.
We love the haters. Make sure you follow, and subscribe, because we're almost to 900 subscribers on YouTube. We're actually awesome. 15 people away from 900 subscribers. So, shout out to all the subscribers and the followers for Kingdom Queens. We love y'all. Help us get to 900. We would love to be at 900 before the Super Bowl. We're going to do a giveaway. We told y'all that last week. We just got to get the number first.
But get on it.
We got to do a giveaway. And you know what? Maybe it'll have some Super Bowl apparel in it. You never know.
Not you, Jeffrey. You're not a hater.
He's not a hater.
Jeffrey's definitely not a hater.
Period.
Very big supporter, Mr. Jeffrey. So, guys, we will see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time to talk all Super Bowl week. Woo! Go Chiefs. And until next time, your queens have spoken.
The best in the AFC.
AFC Champs.
Hate us because you ain't us. Ah, no.
He's gonna hate
Hate us because you ain't us.